how it works. Like, there's a reason that Muslims have been resistant to secularism. Like, Muslim lands have been exposed to secularism and liberalization, the feminist agenda and the liberal agenda for over 2 centuries now. And yeah, it's had an effect, unfortunately, but we've been far more resistant to those influences than Christianity has, or even Judaism has, or Hinduism has. Like, all of those religions have sold out and basically reformed their religions, but Islam has a different distinguishing factor that gives us the upper hand, and that's like we have a system of law. Like, we have Sharia law, and we really believe in it. Like, we really believe in it. We're not like Jews that are trying to find in the religion of Judaism. Obviously, I'm not trying to characterize all Jews, but within Judaism, you see Jews try to find loopholes, and they try to get around the laws of God. Like, how can you actually turn on the lights on the Sabbath, even though it's technically work and you shouldn't? Like, how can you get around the rules? Like, that's how they treat their law. Christians don't even have a law. Christians don't have like a system of, okay, what are proper gender roles? Like, what does it mean to be a husband, to be a obedient wife? Like, what does that actually look like? Islam goes into that in depth. Or like the banking system, like, well, what is wrong with usury? Like, why should you avoid it? Why should it be banned? Like, what is the correct type of financial practice? Like, there's very detailed laws in Islam that we uphold to this day. Like, Muslims uphold it, we practice it, we take it seriously. But first of all, Christianity doesn't have that, and if they want, even if they wanted it, they don't have that in their religion unless they go back to like medieval canon law, which none of them seem to want to do. But even if they did have it, like the Jews, it's not clear that these Christian nationalists want to change their lifestyle.
Yeah. And
Like,
if you look back
it's
to,
not clear.
yeah. Well, if you look back to when there was Christian law, they reference the monarchies in Europe, and look at the law that was in place at the time. The women had to be covered. They had to be, they were supposed to be escorted around in public. Not escorted in terms of OnlyFans, but they had to be protected. They had their heads covered. There was restrictions on things like alcohol and gambling, and they prevented the certain type of banking that's prevalent today. And a lot of it is very parallel to Sharia law. So they say, okay, it's a Christian country, and then the representation of Christian law, the only time that it last happened, it was very similar to Sharia law. And I'm not advocating for Sharia law in America, but so what specifically, I want to ask these people what specifically is Western values, which is a separate conversation, and you covered that extensively.
Well, it's funny that you said like you don't advocate Sharia law, because there was like these white nationalists that preceded like this current wave of Zoomers who adopted Christian nationalists. But if you go back like 10 years or even 8 years, there was a meme amongst the white nationalists. First of all, they would say Islam is right about women. Like, you've seen this meme, right?
Yeah.
They would go actually and post on campuses like Islam is right about women, just to like trigger liberals, because liberals would be like, "Oh, that's Islamophobic." But how? Like, we're saying Islam is right. We're saying Islam. How's it Islamophobic? So they would try to get this contradiction from the liberals, but they would also want white Sharia. Let's say like, we want white Sharia. We love the Sharia, but we just want a white version of it. And so the white nationalists, these are nationalists. Some of them literally are like national socialists, and they want Sharia because they see the benefit of having a law that you follow. And do we want Sharia as Muslims? Do we want Sharia in America? I would say we want like the values of Sharia, yes, because that's God's law. Like, that's the way that humans were meant to live. Like, as a creation of God, like, we want to live according to God's law. We want that like in a positive way. Like, we want Americans to willingly accept Sharia law by recognizing that it's a superior way of life.
Oh,
like,
that's going to be a clip that they're going
to
to use. That's going to go viral on Twitter. They say Sneeko and they want. Well, I think the ideas of freedom of speech in the Constitution, there are major contradictions. So it would hard to even classify it as still America. Well, with that.
Well, I mean, that's what Americans want. Americans want that for the whole world, don't they? Like, someone like Nick Fuentes and these nationalists, they think that, well, their constitution and their understanding of freedom of speech and these kinds of rights that are embedded in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, that's what they want to impose on the rest of the globe, right? In fact, they want to force everyone to accept that as a superior way of life and be subservient or subordinate to the Western order right? Like that's the whole point of the international order and international human rights law that every country is subjected to, is this idea that we as the Western mind have determined the perfect way of life and what is the best for humanity, and that means accepting these laws, and they
Yeah.
impose it. And if you go against it, if you go against their Western liberal order, they call you terrorists, they sanction you, they might invade you to get you to abide by the law of the world, international human rights law.
They got it wrong time and time again over the past 50 years. So much of the geopolitical intervention from America has been a disaster. And when they try to instill democracy, it's just ruined the country that they invaded.